All right, guys. I wanted to continue making videos to help out on the organization of the sheet. So this one is an advanced video. I feel it's only fair to give also an example for the advanced students. And so the spaces are smaller. What's going to happen is we're going to get more of these tessellated squares. So I went ahead and I measured out all my columns. That's what you see the vertical spaces as. Okay, so these are all the ones that go up and down. Okay, now I measured them out at a 1/2 inch starting over at the edge of the perforation here on the paper. So not at the edge of the paper. I guess I could have started that way. But basically every 1/2 inch. So I placed a hatch mark at the 1/2 inch hatch mark on all of them. So I just put a hatch, 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 hatch at every 1/2 inch, and then I went and did another set of them at the bottom. So hatching at 0, 0.51, 1.52, 2.53, all the way across, okay? So the recommendation for the rows, okay, if you use a 1/2 inch measurement on your columns, then divide it by 2 and use a 1/4 inch or 1/4 for your columns. So this is what I did. I went to the top, and you can see these little hatch marks at 1/4 of an inch, which is 1/2 of a 1/2. Okay, so I measured them out 1/4 of an inch on this side, and then I also did it over here. Okay, at this point, what I do is I lightly connect them. Okay, now you're setting up your paper. You're not making permanent marks. Okay, I need to be really clear about that. And then you're going to lightly draw your lines. Okay, so these lines, we're going to erase them, some of them later. So you definitely don't want to have them too dark, okay? So the purpose for doing multiple videos is to try to reach the largest number of students with all their issues. And so I don't want to teach an assignment beneath your abilities, because if I do that, then all of your projects are going to look like elementary school products. And so we want to be making products that look like young adults made them, or maybe even that a professional artist made them, because we have some people of that level in our class. Okay, so does this example have skinnier spaces, and skinnier spaces means more work? Yes, it does. Okay, but I've already talked to you about our art culture at Tulare Union, and it's really good. So we don't want to take what the seniors left us last year and ruin it. Okay, so we're going to only add to it. So that's why you guys have this tessellated assignment. This was something that I worked out with the student last year as part of our design drawing, and then of course modified it into an actual assignment where you're applying color theory. So everything we do is going to take time, but everything's certainly possible by all of you. Okay. If you ever need any help with anything, please don't be embarrassed to ask. Like, for example, a lot of students come into high school and we assume that you guys know how to measure, and maybe it just wasn't that comfortable for you when you were like a 7th grader and it just didn't stick to you and you need some review on how to measure. I'm willing to do that. In fact, I already plan on making another video on simply how to measure so that we can catch everyone. So with that being said, if you do not have a measuring tool at home, like a ruler, it would be really easy to get one at the dollar store, and I think that most people can afford a $1 item, but maybe you don't have a way to get to the dollar store. Although most places in Tulare are walkable distance, so I guess that reason's getting a little bit thin. Okay, but if you can't, for some crazy reason, get a ruler to measure with, you can get 2 objects, and the first object has to be no wider than a ruler, so no wider than 1 inch, and then the second object has to be exactly half as wide as it, and they need to have straight sides. Okay, so whatever the first one is you use, the second one needs to be half of its width. So it's possible to do this assignment without a ruler, is my point. It certainly would be easier if you had one. But I decided to grid this out and graph it out like this because I had a really good A student who was struggling with the position of their diamonds, and I thought, well, if that student's struggling, there has to be others. So as I let that resonate with me for a moment, this is my solution to come up with an answer that will that will work for you guys. So I'm going to end on that line and then divide this bottom space equally. All right, so I was thinking about these diamonds and I thought, well, maybe not every student is seeing the diamond, but follow me on this. So if I drew a diamond right here, just by going point to point between 4 of these rectangles, I could do it again. Okay, but during break I was looking at this and I was like, you know what, maybe these students will understand it better if I just told them to draw an X. Okay, so maybe our angles will stay more consistent if the X passes through the center of the 4 selected boxes and we stay really straight. Now I'm doing it freehand for this assignment. If you guys would like to use your ruler just to make sure it's perfect, perfection certainly makes this one look good. You can see some similar concepts if you were to look up MC Escher's work. He was really famous for doing artwork like this. So if you make X's, you get the argyles. So maybe that's easier for a lot of you, okay? So I think if I told you guys to write the letter X or to draw an X, all of you guys would be super confident about that. And I think you guys could definitely handle that. Okay, so I will do two of the rows here because I don't want this to be a super long video like the first one. But as I'm moving along, I'm finding because I went to the effort of measuring this paper, it's going a lot faster for me. I want to see what the light looks. Yeah, the light looks a little bit better. So maybe I should have started the video with the light on, okay? All right, so the next step is to skip 2 spaces and then work on this X pattern again. So I want the top of the diamond in the next row to match the point here. Okay, so that would be a good way to figure out where does it start. Just pick one and it'll alternate automatically for you. So let's just take a look at what we've done here. All I did was put an X between these 4 spaces and look at that. We have a box with the top and 2 sides and that's what we're going for. That's all it is, okay? So I don't want to hear anybody say I can't do this because I'm 100% confident in you. You are going to gain a really cool illusion skill, okay, which is to make these tessellated cubes. And I know 100% for sure that all of you guys can make vertical lines, horizontal lines, and diagonal lines. So with that being said, if we add some thought to it, you will be able to come up with this really cool tessellation and you'll apply your color scheme to it. So I'll fix any imperfections later. Okay, you can see I kind of doubled that line right there. But just for the sake of concept, I'm putting an X through 4 boxes. And that makes it really, really easy for me. Okay, so as we move along, what we want to do is we just want to make sure that we're believing in our method and we're not trying to get faked out by what we're thinking. And we're making sure that our angles cross the center and connect to the other point. Okay, so make sure that you're putting your best effort forward on this. This is a gallery level piece, okay? This is not something that we're just gonna whip out in 5 minutes and expect it to look amazing, okay? This is something that should definitely take you some time. All right, so if I went through and I colored this, what I would do is I would erase the lines that are in the top so they don't show through my work. Some of you are using paint and that's okay. You'll still have to erase. But I'll apply my color scheme to the box, okay? So if I chose split complementary, I might be using blue-green for the top, red for the front and orange for the side, okay? However you choose to do it is fine with me, but you do need to represent one of the color schemes that is on the color scheme cheat sheet, which is found at the end of the slideshow that I connected to your assignment. So take a look at it, okay? I know you guys can do this, okay? So just keep in mind that as the rows go down, you're going to go 1, 2, and then you'll start your X pattern. Okay. Now, it's always 2 in height, all right? So it's 1, 2 in height, and then the X crosses through the center of the next space. Okay, so you're counting down 2. Now I want you to notice that the measuring technique is not like a graph paper, meaning graph paper is typically even. The width and the height match each other. This one has double the width on the vertical lines and the rows are half the width. All right, so I hope this helps you. I'm doing the best I can to help you. Okay, I don't want you to be lost and feel like you can't do it. Okay, you can do it. You most definitely can do it. You're just going to have to put some thinking power to it and some effort. So I wanted to get this video out to you this weekend so that you guys had some more supplements. All right, guys. I'll see you next time in class.